The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In the pale dawn of February 26, 1959, a Soviet search party crested a gentle snow-covered slope beneath the eastern ridge of a peak the local Mansi people called Kholat Syakhl, Dead Mountain. There, half buried in drifts, lay a lilac-colored tent, its fabric sheared from the inside in long, jagged tears. Outside, a single set of footprints, bare, socked, and coatless, led away into the darkness before vanishing into the forest's edge. Temperatures hovered near minus 30 degrees Celsius. No boots, no coats, no sign of struggle. Only the silent question: what could drive 9 seasoned hikers to flee their shelter into a frozen abyss? Just over a month earlier, on January 23rd, 9 students from the Ural Polytechnical Institute had piled onto a train in Sverdlovsk, today's Yekaterinburg, full of excitement and confidence. Their leader, 23-year-old radio engineering student Igor Dyatlov, had mapped a 300-kilometer circuit across the remote northern Urals, aiming to summit Otorten, the imposing 1,066-meter peak whose ominous Mansi name gave a chilling prelude to what lay ahead. Each member held a Grade 2 hiking certification. Success would earn them Grade 3, the highest in Soviet mountaineering. Backed by the city's Physical Culture Committee and the Komsomol Youth League, the team carried provisions for 16 days, skis strapped to their packs and spirits soaring. The 9, 7 men and 2 women, were an ambitious, well-trained group. Among them were Rustem Slobodin, an experienced geologist, Yuri Krivonashenko, a radio engineer, and the only woman to complete the trek, Zinaida Kolmogorova, whose calm temperament and meticulous packing had eased many a storm. Each had completed rigorous training in winter survival, building snow shelters, navigating by compass beneath gray skies, and treating frostbite. In theory, the Ural winter held no terrors they could not overcome. Through late January, radio check-ins brought reassuring reports. Morale was high, supplies abundant, and the snow, though deep, posed no unexpected challenges. Photographs sent back to family showed smiling faces framing endless white forests under clear skies. Their last transmission, dated January 31st, mentioned camp preparations for a summit push. Nothing hinted that, in mere days, they would vanish from human knowledge, leaving behind one of the 20th century's most confounding mysteries. When the team missed its rendezvous at their February 1st deadline, officials in Sverdlovsk first assumed a simple delay. But days passed with no word. On February 20th, nearly 3 weeks after the initial departure, a search party braved the Ural taiga. Dog teams strained against harnesses. Sleds cut furrows through unbroken snow. Temperatures plunged. On the 6th day of searching, those rescuers came upon the tent. Inside, conditions were inexplicable. The floor was neatly arranged, sleeping bags still in place, belongings on shelves of snow. No signs of hasty packing or violent struggle. Yet the tent's vestibule had been slashed open from within. Personal items, boots, overcoats, even a few items of underwear lay abandoned, scattered around the site. To exit, the hikers had carved a hole in the tent, climbed out in socks and underclothes, and walked toward the forest's shadow, as if chased by something unseen. A few hundred meters away, close to a small fire ring fashioned from stones, lay the first 2 bodies, Igor Dyatlov and Zinaida Kolmogorova. Clad only in their undergarments and thin slippers, they sat propped against a tree, faces tilted skyward in the snow. Hypothermia can be deceptive. Victims often remove heavy clothing before succumbing, a phenomenon known as paradoxical undressing. Yet in near silence and near darkness, without skis or coats, they could never have made it back to the tent. They perished within minutes of exposure. Over the ensuing days, searchers found 2 more bodies. One lay face down in a frozen stream. The other was half buried in a drift beside a ravine. Then, nearly 3 months later, on May 4th, the remaining 5 were discovered at the bottom of a 75-meter gully some distance from the campsite. Their clothing told a tale of desperation. Coats swapped among them, fabric scraps bound around limbs, shoes abandoned in favor of improvised wrappings. 4 of the 5 bore catastrophic injuries, crushed skulls, broken ribs, and chest trauma consistent with high-velocity impact. Yet medical examiners noted virtually no external bruising. 2 victims were missing eyes. 1 had no tongue. The 9th body bore only the telltale signs of advanced hypothermia. Soviet investigators quickly concluded that a compelling natural force had driven the hikers from their tent. They classified 6 deaths as exposure-related and 3 as resulting from fatal injuries. Their official report, however, skirted detailed explanation. The tent showed no evidence of an avalanche's turbulent force. Snow lay undisturbed around the site. The ravine's bodies rested where no team of 9 could have dragged them without assistance. Rumors swirled of mild radiation detected on clothing, and local accounts spoke of orange-tinged skin among the earlier found victims. Yet Soviet authorities suppressed these anomalies, offering no cohesive narrative beyond a vague natural disaster. As the decades passed, theories multiplied like snowflakes in a storm. Some proposed a katabatic wind, a sudden, gravity-driven blast of cold air that could collapse a tent's structure and scatter occupants in panic. Others suggested infrasound, generated by wind sweeping across specific rock formations, a phenomenon capable of inducing irrational terror and hallucinations. Conspiracy theorists whispered of secret military tests, parachute mines detonated to clear test zones, missile trials gone awry, leaving the group exposed to shock waves or toxic fallout. Fringe explanations ranged from a rampaging yeti or wild beast to extraterrestrial visitation. Each hypothesis captivated the public imagination, yet none accounted for every piece of the puzzle. In July 2020, the Russian Prosecutor General's office reopened the case. Deputy head Andrei Kuryakov examined archives, autopsy photos, and site photographs. On July 1st, he announced that a small, delayed slab avalanche, rather than any fantastical force, was the culprit. His reasoning held that the hikers had carved a level platform on a steep slope, effectively severing the base of a compact snow slab. In the hours before dawn, wind-driven snow steadily accumulated on this precarious overhang. Eventually, gravity overcame friction, and the slab collapsed silently, pressing with immense force on the tent's roof. That unanticipated pressure could fracture ribs and skulls without leaving obvious external bruises. Panicked, the 9 fled into the storm without boots or coats, succumbing to hypothermia within minutes. Critics, however, pointed to gaps in Kuryakov's conclusion. If a slab avalanche had occurred, why did the surrounding area lack telltale debris? How could the pressure of a sliding snow mass explain the missing eyes and tongue? And what of the radiation traces detected by earlier investigators? The slab model elegantly addressed blunt force injuries, but it shed no light on the more bizarre soft tissue anomalies. In January 2021, Swiss geoscientists Johann Gaume and Alexander Puzrin published a study in Communications, Earth and Environment that refined the avalanche hypothesis. Using field measurements and topographic analyses, they demonstrated how a delayed slab, destabilized by wind-blown snow, could collapse long after the hikers pitched their tent. Their experiments, conducted in both summer and winter, replicated the Ural terrain's hidden concavities and overhangs. These conditions allowed a slab to rest silently before deflecting with broad, uniform pressure once failure occurred. Their model showed that such a collapse could indeed deliver sufficient force to shatter bones from beneath, leaving skin largely intact. Yet Gaume and Puzrin conceded that their mechanism did not address the remaining mysteries, the missing soft tissue and lingering questions of radiation exposure. Today, an iron-framed cross stands not far from the site where those 9 young explorers disappeared. Visitors trek in summer, retracing the final footsteps of Igor Dyatlov and his companions beneath silent pines. Photographs and wreaths adorn the metal frame, a fragile monument to lives cut short by forces unseen. Documentaries, podcasts, and researchers continue to probe diaries, autopsy reports, and weather logs. Each new theory earns headlines, only to be challenged by facts stubborn as the Ural granite. What then truly transpired on that frigid February night? Was it a delayed slab avalanche, a freak gust of katabatic wind, or something far more inexplicable? The mountain itself keeps its secrets well. 6 decades later, the Dyatlov Pass incident endures as a testament to nature's caprice and the limits of human understanding. Your turn. Which theory holds the key? Share your thoughts below. And if you crave more journeys into history's unsolved enigmas, be sure to subscribe.